So with me now is Robert Ferrell.
Hello.
So this is The Art of the Deal 2. I've just found out that there is actually a movie, a new movie with Donald Trump, which is called The Art of the Deal. So it is not that Art of the Deal. I just want to make that clear. Robert is the international director based in Paris for PGM Fashion and Brands. Now, you have probably not heard of Pacific Global Management Group, but you may have heard of the model agencies that they own, and you will certainly have heard of some of the models within those agencies. So Women, Elite World, The Society, as well as the lingerie brand La Perla. But we're talking about a global modeling powerhouse. So some of the biggest names in modeling today, Kendall Jenner, who you will be familiar with if you are under a certain age, Victoria's Secret star Adriana Lima, the icon that is Naomi Campbell, the Chinese superstar Lu Wen, and Cara Delevingne. So Robert has been in Paris for 27 years. And we're going to start, actually, we've just put up a few pictures of campaigns that you've pulled the deal together, but let's move on to a picture of a young girl who was kind of at the beginning of everything. So this is a very young Kate Moss. And
1990, no?
Yeah,
I think
1990.
it's 1990.
So
that was the year I met her, yeah.
So tell us first about...
She had gone through every agency in Paris, and every agency in Paris said, no way, too small, can't do it. And she walked into Maryland's, it was 1990, so I moved to Paris in 1989. Anyway, she walked in, and I looked and I went, I mean, this sounds crazy, but I did. I went, oh my God, she's amazing. She's so fresh. She's so great. And who cares if she's small? Went to the owner of Maryland Agency, Maryland at the time, and said, I've never been an agent before. It's the first time I'm being an agent, but I really believe in this girl. And she went, okay. And it started there. And you know, Kate would sleep over at the house and, you know, sleep on a futon and take my boyfriend's T-shirts and wear them to castings. And the biggest challenge was just trying to get her booked for editorial. She's so short, but she's amazing. Just the whole thing that goes with it. And it really started after. I mean, I think the first thing was an Italian Vogue Walter Chin, or maybe there was a French out, but it wasn't obvious. But she was Kate. And that was
Let's move on to the mega deal. So we're going to see an image now of her, which is much more kind of familiar.
I actually did that with Ricardo, who's there when he was at Dior. And it was after a publicized period of Kate's life. And was talking, I was talking to the Dior people, the Dior perfume people, and they said, you know, we have this new thing that we're coming up with, Dior Addict, and who would you think? And I was like, duh. I really was like, duh, but I don't think Mr. Arnault will ever go for it. I really don't think so. And they were like, I was like, I wish he would, because it would be amazing. And they said, well, we're going to put it through who else, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's my pony. That's what I would do. The next day they go, he really loved the idea. I was like, really? Okay. And it ended up being the most successful lipstick launch ever to date at that time, yeah. Right? I mean, the film that accompanied it was crazy. They had this idea of, they were like, we want to make up what it would be like to be Kate Moss going to a show. And I said, why would, you know, so they could get all the pop. I was like, why would you want to make it up? Why don't you just invite her to the show and film it? Oh, what a great idea. And they did, and then everything else came, and it was a great relationship, that one. That was great.
Let's talk about another one of your good ideas. So this one involves not a model, but really the French movie icon. So just to set up who she is, of course, this is Catherine Deneuve in some of her more famous films. Robert did not, of course, have anything to do with those films. We just wanted to make sure, I wanted to make sure, actually, that some of the younger people in the room actually knew who She was, because Camilla, who's sitting down there, who I'm going to embarrass, didn't. So that's why that slide's in there. But Robert, tell us about working with Catherine Deneuve.
Again, I met Catherine through her daughter, Chiara Mastroianni, and it was backstage at a Gautier show. And Chiara said, "Oh, would you like to meet my mom?" I was like, yeah. Catherine Deneuve, hello. I mean, things like that happen in Paris, you know? There was Catherine, you know, bonjour, oui. And voila, and I was like, okay, listen, if I ever have something, it would be great. And it was crazy. It always happens like this. About 2 weeks later, I was talking to the people at L'Oréal, and they were like, we really want somebody, we'd love it to be French, da-da-da. And I was like, what about Catherine Deneuve? They were like, it was Claude Solani, who was at L'Oréal, at McCann Erickson, I think it was McCann. Anyway, and he said, do you think she'll do it? And I was like, I don't know, I mean, I'll call her up. So I called her up, bonjour Catherine, bonjour Robert, and she was like, oh, it's about time. If there's one thing I have, it's my hair.
Let's have a look at that one.
And then, voila, then it did that. And it was funny, during the filming of the TV commercial, you know, you're waiting, and they're changing the decor, they're changing everything. And I mean, we waited for hours, and they were nervous about what time she was going to arrive. And she was there. She said, you know, nobody's ever waited for me during a film. I've always been on time. And it was like, okay, no problem. And I mean, there you go.
And it wasn't, of course, her first ever commercial campaign. So
No,
even before you left from America, this is just to flash back to a much earlier Catherine Deneuve there for Chanel No. 5. Let's go back to Kate Moss, though. So tell me about the timing of this deal. This is Longchamp.
This was really directly right after. Again, Longchamp's a private company, so it was quite, the connection with the client was really personal. So you went in, you sat with them, and what do you think? And it was really between Kate and Giselle, actually. And I was like, Giselle. I was like, tell me, what kind of do you want to be iconic, or do you want to be a brand that takes a supermodel? I mean, come on. And going back and forth, and the negotiating for the money, and Jean Casgrain said, we've never ever spent that much money. He was just choking. And I said, look, Jean, I'm telling you now, if it doesn't work, and I'm asking you for a year contract with you, if it doesn't work, you're never ever going to call me again. So why would I do that? That's pretty stupid of me. It went on to last, how many years? 6 or 7 years. It was, and every season it was, you know, it started out at 23%, 22, I mean, it just kept going up and up and up and up, and actually doubled. I think you interviewed him, and it doubled the value of the company. I mean, her association, I mean, they were a mumsy brand. They were, and all of a sudden they were being mentioned in editorial like Dior bags, Vuitton bags and everything, just from that association. But they're really good. They're really, you know, the parents are still around. And she's amazing, and I think one of the things you have to do, you've got to listen to what your client wants. Don't sell them a bag, don't sell them a bill of goods. Listen to what they want and try to fulfill that while respecting the talent that you represent. You know, everybody wants more bang for their buck, so you just have to, you kind of juggle it, and if you have lawyers who listen and who you can have a contact, you know, just a dialogue with, because a lot of times, you know, a person, if you Google a person, you can have you can sort of have an opinion of the person before you've met them, and it's sort of crazy to do that. I try to get the lawyer to meet the talent, because then it just makes it easier for everybody. Everybody can see what they're actually dealing with.
Before we move off from Kate, tell me about moral clauses in contracts. Of course, we can't say why.
No, but I mean,
I
think they've been there for. I don't know. You guys, you would tell me. When did they start? But I think more importantly now, you have moral clauses that are almost that are a mirror clause, because we're talking about a moral clause that protects the brand if the talent does something. But I think it's important to also have a mirror clause if the brand does something, or if the owner of the brand does something, so that the talent or the actor or the actress, so that they can actually walk away from the deal if the brand or the owner of the brand does something that is totally not, that's morally not on, then they can walk away from it as well. So I think it's a two-way street.
Let's move on to the Bottega Veneta slide. So I think we have to.
Okay, that started,
Right.
that was funny because Inez called me up and said, they called me to do a perfume for Neen, and they've offered us so much for an exclusive contract. And I said, what?
Let me explain then who we're talking about. So
Inez
Catherine Deneuve, of course, is the great French icon, and Inez de la Fressange is the other. And this is her daughter, who is called Neen.
Yeah, and so anyway, she said, would you call them? And they were offering some ridiculous amount of money. So I got them up to 10 times more and said, if we can come up to 10 times more. That was when I was in Marrakesh shooting with Kate. And I said, if we can get up to this amount of money. She was like, but nobody's ever heard of her. And I said, but why are we speaking? Why do you want her? And that's 3 years now. So it's good, it's gone on.
Let's hear maybe the top 5 things that you're looking for in a contract, because many of the people in the room are looking at a contract from the exact opposite side from you.
I think I want the same things that the brand wants. I mean, obviously I want protection for the talent. I want them to be protected, moral clauses, the money, of course. I need to know what they
money.
actually.
Let's talk about that. I'm not letting you get past money. What sort of money are we talking about?
We're talking about the kind of money that we talk about today in any term. We're in a luxury market. We're in a luxury market. So
give us a sort of
no,
ballpark.
I couldn't talk money, but I mean, you have brands that spend 143 million on a foundation. So. And all you have to do, sometimes one of the things you do is you just Google how much they make per year. You go, okay, and this is who this person is, this is what they do, and you put, I never want to exaggerate. I prefer to have a deal that's going to last and where the two sides are going to be really happy that they were a part of this deal. Everybody wants to be a part of a success. Nobody wants to be a part of a failure, do you? I mean, you want to be able to say, we did this. This was great. They were great. They were straight with me. And let's do it. I mean, why not?
Let's see another image then of a deal that's lasted an extraordinary long time. So the next one is
Ricardo. This is the Ricardo Robert.
And you didn't know that you were each going to be in the room, right?
No, because now he's at Kering.
This is a love fest across the room.
It's just easy. I wouldn't say easy.
So why does this work? Why is Eva Herzigova has been the face of that Dior beauty product forever.
She's aged well. She's great. She's a mother. She's a team player. She's a team player for the brand. She is a great image for the brand, and it works. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's fine. Leave it. It works.
Considering clients that aren't yours, what are some of the things that you think, oh my God, that deal went wrong?
God, I was just talking about that with Doug earlier. What was her name? Angelina Jolie doing St. John. Did anybody ever believe that? I mean, did you really believe that? Did you believe Brad Pitt for Chanel? Do you believe Johnny Depp for looking like Johnny Cash for Sauvage? I mean that's my personal opinion. Would I have tried to talk them out of it? Probably, knowing me, because I'm so stupid. But I probably would have said, "Are you sure about that?" But
Tell me the campaign that you're most proud of.
I think the most proud of, the whole association with Sophia, with Vuitton, and Francis and core values. And
so we're going to see, so this, so that you know what this is, so to explain core values, and to make clear in this slide, Robert didn't do all of these deals. So it was a Louis Vuitton campaign that began in September 2007. And it was really aimed at rebooting Louis Vuitton's image at a time where it was a much smaller company than it is now. At the time, it was sort of not even famous, known for the monogram and travel. So here, obviously, Muhammad Ali, Keith Richards, the former Soviet statesman Mikhail Gorbachev, and the people who've been to the moon. So Sally Ride, she's the first woman in space. Buzz Aldrin of Apollo 11, of course, and Jim Lovell of Apollo 13. But so this campaign really turned up the heat on a very old brand. It's the anchor brand for LVMH, of course, which, as you all know and discussed often today, is helmed by Bernard Arnault. And the last time I looked, he was worth $37 billion. So this campaign kind of turbocharged Vuitton, LVMH, and helped Mr. Arnault too. Now, Robert, you delivered the next people we're going to see. So first we're going to see them in their other lives. It's not these two people, it's the people behind, the Oscar winners behind The Godfather and Lost in Translation are, of course, father and daughter, Francis Ford Coppola and Sofia Coppola. So this was your great idea. Tell us about this one.
Pietro Beccari, who's now at Fendi. Pietro was the president at Vuitton at the time, and he and Arnault were doing, Antoine Arnault were doing these, and they were, okay, this is great, and I was like, but you're missing. I was like, Vuitton should be generational. Vuitton should be passed on. Vuitton, there needs to be a dialogue, and he was like, well, what are you thinking? And I said, what about Sophia and Francis? I mean, Sophia's a friend. She's been, known Sophia forever. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Do you think they would? So I was having lunch with Sophia, and I said, oh, by the way, and she was like, oh, it's just sort of like disguised advertising, isn't it? And I was like, yes. And I said, but I think it's valid. And I said, and I don't even know if your father would ever do it. And she said, oh, he will if I ask him. And I said, okay, so let's start the talks. And Francis was in Argentina shooting Tetro. That's what it was. So we shot it in Argentina. Annie Leibovitz, the production for this shoot had more people than Francis's film. It was crazy. I mean, there were people, Francis needs a toothpick. Francis needs a toothpick. I mean, it was like, but we got that, and it was the beginning, it was sort of the beginning, it sort of solidified the relationship of Sophia with Vuitton, because at the time she had said, oh, I'd really like some fashion project. I do all of her fashion projects. And I was like, why don't you do some bags for Vuitton? She was like, oh, that's a great idea. I mean, they loved the idea. So we started, that was the way of introducing the relationship. And then you go on to the bags, which is...
So let's see the next one, which is something to do with the bags.
Yeah, the SC bag, which is now part of the permanent collection of bags at Vuitton. We just did a relaunch in Tokyo.
I think
in
we've
April.
got a picture of that, haven't we? We've got a picture of Sophia.
And that's Beaumarchais, but
okay.
Tokyo was, we just did a relaunch in Tokyo. They're going to bring it back to 46 stores. It's a great relationship. It's been 2009, I think.
Why does it work, though? I mean, Sophia's, she has an Oscar. She's known as a screenwriter. She's known for
her taste. She's known for her taste. She's known, she asks so many women what, in Tokyo, it's like, it's crazy. You just ask women of a certain age, it could be from 14 to whatever, and they all want to know what she's wearing. And actually, when I spoke to Vuitton about that idea about the bags, they do all of their research. They do everything. They want to know how popular so-and-so is in these countries, da-da-da. And she was always in the top 3. I mean, they don't make those decisions just like that, just because they like you and because you're funny. So,
But one thing about Sophia, speaking from my profession, is that she's really tough to interview. I mean, she doesn't say anything.
Well, she won't say anything because she feels that her movies, she's like, you should get the movie. If I did my job correctly, then you should get my movie. You should understand what it's about. But you know, we're in a generation today where everybody wants that. They want more and more and more and more and more. So.
But do you put something, you know, when you're speaking with lawyers and putting these deals together,
Always.
do you say stuff like, you know,
Always.
she's not going to do an interview, or is that all in there?
I definitely. We have all the. I ask for all the questions in advance. Approval of everything. You got to get approval. You know, you're going to get that one person who thinks they're going to get that one question in. So you just got to be careful. You don't want to backtrack. Honestly, who likes to backtrack? Nobody. You just don't want to. You just don't want to do that. Let's just be honest. What do you want? What do you want? Okay, this is what we can do. I can say yes to. What if we do it this way? She'll say yes to it that way. Fine. I mean, Sophia's the first one to say, if you know, she'll be like, okay, I can play Mickey Mouse today for that, you know, and then she can put on the mouse ears and be that. But it's, you know, you've got to have that direct line of communication with your talent, which a lot of times people don't have. So, and you got to avoid that.
Let's move on to someone who has whose privacy is open, really. So there we have. A Vogue cover of Kendall Jenner, 64 million followers. Now that, I think, came out in March. She now has 87,060,372, but that was a week ago, so it would have gone up.
It's probably gone up. I mean, Kendall, I haven't done a deal with Kendall yet. She's part of the group. She's got an amazing agent, Chris Gay at the Society, an amazing agent who's really constructed this career with Kendall. I think what's amazing is, I mean, this is just me. She really seems like a normal girl, and I think that's her appeal. I think everybody can. I think the general public can relate to her, and I think that's part of what's going on with, you know, social media, and I think her popularity on social media is because people can relate to her.
So she's a normal girl who also happens to be a Kardashian.
She's a normal girl. I mean, you know, this is a whole generation. It's the generation who shops on their phone. It's the generation who they send each other. You know, I have clients who buy Saint Laurent dresses, vintage Saint Laurent dresses, or knew this or knew that, and they do it all by the telephone.
But you have clients that you deliberately keep off social media, so
I don't keep them off of social media. You have to say to a brand, listen, you have to be honest. Above all, be honest, be direct. Just do it. Just, you know, pull the Band-Aid off early and just say, this is what they'll do, this is what they won't do, because nobody wants to get halfway. Don't waste anybody's time.
What's your view of things like Instagram, like the talent that you look after?
I think it's here to stay. We've created the monster. We've got to feed the monster. We've got to try to keep Godzilla over there. But what you have to understand is that what people didn't understand, and it's the same with Facebook, what people didn't understand is when you check that box off, that image, your image is no longer yours. I mean, you know, magazines can do articles on your Instagram photos. A magazine can take your Instagram photos and do an article on you. You can't say anything. And it's happened to so many clients. What are you going to do?
So if we go back to Kate Moss now, I mean, she's someone that is all over Instagram, all over social media, but it's not her.
Hers. It's not hers. It's not hers. I mean, I worked with Kate for 25 years. I mean, I'm at PGM now. But I worked with Kate for 25 years. She's the same person. She's, you know, there's Kate. I mean, Naomi could definitely be bigger than Oprah. She could be. Naomi Campbell could be the next Oprah, but, you know, and she will be. It's, you know, that's what's amazing about those girls,
yeah.
That longevity. The longevity of certain talent is, and the way people connect with them is amazing.
What about you now? Because you spend your life with these girls who make enormous amounts of money, and that's not where you came from.
No, but I think where did any of us come from? Family of 9 children, East LA, next to Mexican gang, Montebello. Somebody's from Encino. Voila, Doug's from Encino. Montebello, mother stayed home with the 9 children. Father was a brick mason. They kept our nose clean. I mean, and then I met Marilyn at a wedding in Paris and of a model. And she said, "Come and work for me," and that was in 1989. And I
so
said,
that
"Okay."
was 20. That was a 20-year history. I should have explained that before you joined your current firm. But one thing I did to prep for this was put you into try and Google you. So I knew that you're behind all these big deals. But if you type Robert Ferrell in, you get an army guy. You get an author on books on Truman and Eisenhower. You get lots of images of the comedian Will Ferrell doing all sorts of things. So given your clients are so famous, how, with the exception of right now, are you so invisible?
Nobody wants to see the person that... I mean, I work for them. I'm a firm believer in know your place. Know your talents, of course, but just know your place. You work for the talent, or you work for the brand, or you work for the two of them to make something great happen. Maybe it's really old school. You shouldn't be in the press. Nobody wants to see that I'm at a party or ooh, please. I don't. You know.
Well,
so
funny that.
I don't.
Because
I don't.
when I was
I don't want to see
trying
that I'm at a party.
to find you, I did find you. We found you very deep in here. This is from searching absolutely everywhere.
You'll get the back of my head, maybe.
So this is Chanel. Obviously, you can see how many followers they've got. That was taken a week ago, so it's probably gone up. But Camilla, do we have that little tiny video? Can we... It took hours to find that. Now, that's a demonstration, really, that if you put it on social media, you are giving it away because we don't need permission to show that. You know, Chanel has basically given it by putting it on Instagram, and there was that split second. So when I was trying to find Robert, just to check some stuff on what we were doing today, I couldn't get hold of him. And then, eventually he was like, "I'm not in the country right now." And I said, "I know damn well where you are. You're in Cuba." "No, I'm not." So... What are you doing in Cuba? What were you doing in Cuba?
I was just accompanying a French actress that is a friend of the house, and that was it. That was really it. I mean,
Would you like to tell us more?
No. I mean, it's really there's really nothing to tell. It was really that. And who wouldn't want to go to Cuba with Chanel hosting you? They're very elegant. It's a very elegant brand. You don't have to be the dancing monkey if you don't want to be, and you can be the dancing monkey if you want to, and it was great. I mean, it was great. But again, first of all, I'm only here because Marion invited me here, and she said this is a closed event, and I just think it's important that we can still have closed events, and it's important that we can have this sort of feedback. I've been really happy to listen to so many of you that I'm always impressed by all of you. I'm always impressed by what you know, the questions you ask. And sometimes I just go like, really, are you here? Yeah, and it's great to be able to learn lots of things, so.
Let's, I think the next image is another one of Ava, so we probably don't need to talk about that. I know that we're slightly running out of time, but tell me now about how you like to get things done. So we're in the age of email and all of that. How...
Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Go. Just get on a plane. Just move your ass and get there. Honestly, just don't do a 25 people on CC email. No, just say, what do you want? Get in there. Go in and talk. And if you can arrange a meeting between the talent they're interested in and the brand, do it. It'll save so much time, and you can save so much time by picking up a telephone. I had a talent that was in a campaign, and it was actually Miu Miu, and He was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I was like, so I called my friend and I was like, Verdi, what can I do? She was like, oh, just call so-and-so. She'll work. On the telephone, 2 weeks of emails going back and forth. It was resolved in 5 minutes. Go back to the telephone. Just pick up your phone. Honestly, just do it. It's the best.
There we have Jerry Hall having picked up the telephone. I think, Robert, we're pretty much through, but I know people will want to ask you things off stage, so we're not going to do Q&A up here, but
Please don't.
so if anyone can get the information out of Robert that I want, which is things like how much do you pay people? There's a lot of questions he wouldn't answer, but he might do off stage, so
It
I
won't
hand him.
happen. It won't happen.
I throw him to you.